Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the day after the U.S. elections, even though we don't know who won or who's going to win. And this is Wednesday, and the date is November 4th. And we'll go through the disclaimers. Trading the foreign exchange on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. The high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to invest in the foreign exchange, you should carefully consider your investment objective, level of experience, and risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with the foreign exchange trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubt. This is a live trading room. It is for educational purposes only. No financial advice or recommendations will be provided. Any trade taken during this live session is not a recommendation or a suggestion that you should also do the same. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Do not trade money that you cannot afford to lose before trading live. Always operate with a written trade plan that identifies the rules for entries, exits, targets, and risk management. And the last alert that we had was a US yen at 445, the way I'm seeing it. So let me go to the charts. And you can see that, everybody see my charts okay? I will assume so.
Yeah.
And so basically at 445, we had a ascending wedge. And so I just basically used I referenced the low for the day of the overnight low. I put a mark there. And then we have the ascending. So I started at the bottom, went up to the overnight high, came back down to a trend that seemed to be tucked it in as close as I can, but the D as close as I could. We have a trend line from the B as the anchor. Here's a hit. D is another hit. So that validates that top of the wedge. And we have an A with a little hit here. This is pretty much all the same area. But you can see right as we got the alert, it broke out the bottom of this wedge and it came down to the target and it came right into a supply zone that I drew based on the higher time frame area, which is this area right in here. I probably could actually take it down a little bit lower. I used this off of a 4-hour chart is where I drew this. Let's see, where's my it's more to find the daily or the 4-hour zone at the bottom of and you can see right here's where the wicks came right in, turn around, and now it's in the area of limbo right now. Not really knowing where it's going to go. I could have taken it up a little bit higher, but I like having the bottom, the bottom. This is the lowest came up, came back down, retested this area. And you can see where it's starting to retest this area once again. It came pretty much right smack dab at the bottom of where this big long candle came in. That's where it took off to the upside. So we'll just, actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snap it to the bottom. So basically this was the bottom hit. And we're going to leave it like that. Take our 15-minute chart. And so this is where we are right now. So if you got the alert and you were within the next 15 minutes, this 15-minute candle, see it broke. If we come back down over to the 5-minute chart where we tweaked up, where we would have tweaked the wedge on the lows of these pivots. Just take it a little bit lower right there. And you can see this, the 5-minute candle on the alert candle of the first 5 minutes came down, broke the wedge, based a little bit, dropped down, broke the 30 minutes 62, passed it, checked it, and that was the big move right there. And we had this pivot right here was when the next, this is a strong move up. We had a strong rally, a base. This was probably all during the overnight, during the election results. You can see where I was sitting there watching the markets as the results were coming in and they were just all over the place. But anyway, here's where you are right now. It came down, touched the demand zone. It has a little bit of a nice little trend coming down. We had the lower highs and lower lows all the way down to the demand zone. And now it's starting to see if it's going to make a reversal. And right now we have a little bit of a wedge developing where we have the strong rejection of the demand zone, come up. I'm going to take it over to where this last bit of the last base drop before it came back up and retested this area. And we have another little deal right here. So this is pretty much what we have right now going on. I'm going to just sort of flat top this until we can get a more precise entry or target for a bounce. We have a nice little wedge triangle developing right here between this. This is an engulfing candle right here. We see that we have all these candles, 1, 2, 3, 4, you have 5 candles all inside of this big blue candle. So right now it has no direction at all. And you just have to wait and see what happens. My projection is it's going to probably come back down, retest this area, come back up, and then retest the 62s up here with the 5 and the 13 or 30-minute 62 coming up. Right now, I don't see any trade developing there, and that's all I have on that one. At 1 o'clock, we had a US CAD. Actually, let's check, since we don't have any current wedges, let's go and take a look at our chart here, our RCS chart, and see if we can find something that may work. Let's see if the Aussies are the strongest currency on all 4 time frames. So we would be wanting to go with the direction of Aussie strength. And it looks like the dollar is weak. So we could probably look at the Aussie US and see what that may tell us. So I'm going to come over here to the Euro US, change it to the Aussie US. And we're going to look and see if there's anything there that this chart could possibly give us while we're waiting around here for something else to pop up. Here's the day break. So this is the overnight high. Here's the overnight low. So right now it's trading inside this region. So I'm going to take it from, it looks like it has a slight upward slope. So I'll start with the bottom down here, come up to the top, overnight high, come back down to the next pivot low. And here's our wedge. And you'll see that on the top here, we have, these are a higher time frame. This is drawn from way back before. Good. I went back several days, probably, my daily charts. Let's see what we got, how we do that. Let me just start these all over again so we can get fresh marks on here. I can see where we have a nice pivot high. And this is on a daily chart, so but you can see where it's from a daily perspective all the way back in August. That was the high, and it made lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower low. And this looks like it's coming into where it's coming to reject this low now and come into this. It's forming its own little wedge right here. I'm going to take a trend line from the top. Check out there, check this out. Right there, here's a hit, here's an anchor. And we'll use this as our confirmed trend line. And we have a break of that, but we want to look at this point of this daily high right here. We're going to use that. And that was basically back all the way in October 14th. So there's the daily high right there. And we have a pretty much of a bottom area. We're going to be taken from this area to here, slight sloping down. So we have a slight descending slope that's now basically is traded inside this region right here. I'll put another line on the cross. Here is the low. So this is the range that we're trading in right now. Let's go to our lower time frames and see where we are with a wedge that we can draw and see where we're at with this. So right now it's trading inside this region. And from a price standpoint, it's got about 248 pips. So that's plenty of room to get your 7 pips out of. Now just a matter of when is it going to break and where is it going to break. Off the 15-minute chart from the overnight high, this is challenging this area right now. This is not totally closed yet, so we can actually probably almost move this up to a flat top until we get a confirmation of the second hit. So I'm just going to flat top this. And I'm going to flat top so basically I'm drawing a box. So I'll just draw the box. So this is really the area that is traded in right now. And we'll mark this as a, this is the range that it's trading. And we don't know where this second hit's going to stop. It's right now we're just having to, I'm just going to flat top it because it's on the way up. We'll see where it stops. And I'll move this thing over a little bit. I'm going to line this with the bottom. I'm going to line this with the top of the box. And just see how this thing plays out. Again, there's nothing to be able to take right now. And that's what we have. That's the best thing we have going right now. But there is a strong move from the upside. No, but I don't see any place to get in right yet. Have a little bit of a wedge trading right in here. Let me go and we'll put this in. And we'll take a look at it on the lower time frame, see if there's anything that we can do. Go over to the 5-minute chart. I'll go to 1-minute chart on this one. Move this over here to the high. Here's a pivot low. This was, you can see this is a little bit of a rally base, rally base, rally base. There's a nice little triangle here. I'm gonna pull this right here at the bottom of that little wedge, bring it up to the top, try and align this with the bottom. And you can see it's all consolidating right here. So it's consolidating. If it can break, actually we have another little wedge. You see where it just forms, it's a rally, this is a little bit of a trend here. There's a high, a low, higher high, higher low, equal high to this area right. Pretty much the price of that pivot is right about where these candles are. I'll move this over. And we're going to try a little trend line right and see if this thing breaks this little area right in here. If it does, this may be getting to the point where it's going to start turning around, or you look for a pullback to come up and retest this. This is only the second hit of this trend. And so we're just doing this while we're waiting around looking for another wedge to develop. And just sort of tweak that. And this is what we have right now. If it does break the bottom of this wedge, lots of room to the downside. If it were to break here, you'd have room for about 19 pips. It looks a lot bigger than that, but that's all it is. But we do have the Aussie. Let's see what RCS tool says. Still saying that the Aussie is still strong to the with a 6. I'd be looking more like it's going to be more apt to think it's going to break to the upside. Right now, the dollar with the U.S. elections being still in limbo, the dollar is probably going to be all over the place. As results come in, you'll probably see dollar strength, dollar weakness all day today as they try and calculate some of these states that haven't closed out yet. Any questions?
No, I think there's that could be a really nice potential trade out. I think there's quite a bit that could be done with that wedge there.
They're going to break to the upside. Is that what you're thinking?
You know what? I'm of the opinion I'm just gonna hold on for a little bit until I get some kind of more confirmation about where it's actually gonna go. I'd only take it on a nice break.
And even if it breaks, it's going to have to clear the SPY area. It's going to have to clear the 71, 73 area. And let's see where we could possibly find another target to the upside. Let's go with my 15-minute chart and see if, well, basically the target of the upside is going to be the top of the trading box here, which is at 72.16. Price is at, so there's probably about 30 pips there, I guess. current price now to the top of the box. That's 43. That's 43 pips. So I'd say if it breaks, I'd be looking at breaking to the upside. There's plenty of room there. And so looking at the 1 minute chart, let's draw our trend for our two pip move to the, it's at 71. We're looking at 73. This is going to be the enter zone to buy.
I've got an observation, and it's not 100% a look back, but what I found is that when you have a break, so for example, if it breaks to the top here, and then it consolidates, and then it doesn't break impulsively, then that's a big red sign, and that means I would try to get out with -1 or -2, and then take the other side.
It's basically identifying the head fake that we often talk about. You can see it came back up. It came up, just stuck its head up there, and now it's coming out the bottom. And we also have this to be paying attention to, from the 71.65 area down to the, it's only 4 pips. If it comes down and bounces off of this, this thing is just going to, you only have a 4 pip move. I'd like to see it clear this 1 minute 62. We are starting to get the turnover of the moving averages up here. And that could be a sign that this thing could be starting to reverse to retest the, or I'd say at this point, I'd just be calling this a pullback, not so much a get in and sell situation. I'd be waiting on this one. This is a strong move down to retest.
Sorry about the noise.
That's okay. Let's see, what are we looking at?
So you got something interesting there, Al, on the upper trend line. That's like a pass and check. So it passed it. It's a breach, and then it comes down and it tags the bottom of the upper trend line. It's pretty. It's a confirmation that your trend line is good.
Yeah. This looks like this could be a possible sell. The only thing I don't like is I don't like the fact it's got, I would look for this thing to come down, bounce off of here, then come back up and retest this area, and then maybe take it short. And we did get the flip. This is on the 1 minute. We have the flip on the 1 minute chart with the US now showing strength, but it still shows a lot of strength on the 15 and the 5. So be looking at this as a pullback area. And let's check our two pip trend line on the bottom side. And let's see, this is at 71.67. Go to 65. Right about there. There's our 2 pips. Here's our trend line to sell. Retesting this.
That looks pretty good. It's going to slice right through it, Al.
Matt, is that what you're talking about, the impulsive move?
Yep.
Yeah.
It goes to check the upper? And
yeah. Where it comes up, it passes it, it kind of reaches it, and then it tags the upper side of that wedge.
Right.
Then that's a really strong confirmation that bounce is valid. And then it comes down, and you see where it comes back up and it tags the wedge, and then it breaks to the downside. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's going to stop at the 62. It might just bounce there, do a little bit of a consolidation, form a small little wedge, and then you see how we have the cross there of the moving averages right before the break to the downside.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I would be looking at as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And there's one more thing. Look at your RSI.
It's over here,
So
down here.
yeah, but look at how high it went, the blue one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So because it went up there and there was divergence between it looks like divergence between RSI and price.
Mm-hmm.
That is also a confirmation of that would have been a very nice trade.
Mm-hmm.
How far did that go? That's like,
well, right now it's only 4 pips to the white line. That's probably about 7 pips right now, I'm thinking.
Yeah, from the break.
9 pips right now.
This is melting.
Probably gonna come down and retest this trend line here, this bottom.
Probably. It probably will. It's looking for somewhere to bounce.
This thing's gonna bounce right off of there.
You take that one live there, Al, or?
I just barely got into it, but right now I'm just still about break even. It was so fast I couldn't even get into it over here.
Makes sense.
Al, where's your 30-minute 62?
30-minute 62 is
just to see where in correlation.
It should be. It's right down here at 71.13.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. But I'd say right here, this is going to be the first target where I would expect to start to see a bounce off of this. We have just past the green and coming in. Right here is our blue fib line. So I would be looking at 71.49 to 50-ish is probably going to be the this, you'll probably get a little bit of a bounce off of this.
Yeah, now your prices are at extremes.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a nice little move. That's a nice little move. If you're quick enough, you're able to get your 7 pips out of this.
Mm-hmm.
But right when this thing stalled, you had that one short momentary blue candle. As I was, you saw how quick it was. I was trying to get into it, and I couldn't even get everything set up here.
That cross is pretty dominating when you had the 5 and 13 cross at the top there, right before it broke the wedge. And then you had that bounce where it kind of breached the wedge and then bounced off the top of the wedge and was a very aggressive candle to the downside. And then where it came down and it breached the wedge and it came back up and tagged the moving averages and the wedge and then just melted. And then it came down again and tags the 1 minute 62 and then comes down and tags the top of it. So now we're going to form a wedge here and there might be another. Look at that bounce on that trend line. It's so clean and fantastic. So it's like price knew exactly where that was.
It bounced right off of this strong blue candle at the bottom of the origin of this strong blue candle. This was the wedge actually. So it did end a little short, but you got this C, which is right here by this fib line. You've got the continuation of the wedge. Basically, that was basically from this area right here where it took off, where it started to trend, came back, tested this area, broke it a little bit, and now it's going to go to the upside.
I think we're going to have something fun here because it might mess around with the 1 minute 62, and then you might get that cross. So you're going to have kind of your ABC correction here.
You can see right now this C. You can see actually you could pretty much just flatline this. You do have a little bit of a trend going on with right from here. This strong move up, strong trending move up, straight move down. This one just felt like a rock. This is all pretty much during the overnight. Again, this is all I would say this is all pretty much election-based information here. Maybe there's another result, election result that came in possibly. That may have been the trade of the morning for right now. And that was when we just sort of found it base. We found it just by looking at the strength of all of this right here. Right now, the CAD's starting to show some strength. And we may want to be looking at maybe the CAD US or the CAD British possibly.
Okay. Before you leave this chart, all right, you're.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, the RCS. I just want to know. Okay, the gray panel. That's your 4 hour.
That's my 30-minute.
Okay. Now how?
Yeah. Here's my 4 hour. It's 4 hour, 30-minute. Here's my 15, and here's my 5.
Okay. All right. It circumvents that way. Okay. No problem.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure about that.
It's something to get myself. This is the one I pretty much focus on. That's why I have this one grayed out, just so I can.
Okay.
This is the time frame that I'm primarily looking at. And I'm just trying to see. I'm not paying too much attention with this one, but when I see all four, one currency at the top of all 4 charts, that's usually a pretty good indication.
Sure.
And I also like when the number 6, this means it's not quite up to the top, which means it still has some room to go. Right now, the Aussie's at the top, and you can see it's sort of flatlined right up here. So that means it's been up there for quite a while.
Right.
And the longer it stays up there, the stronger it's going to be.
Sure.
So I'm not totally convinced that this move is not over to where it could still be going. This could be just a really strong pullback. If I look at all my charts, all my tools here right now, the Aussie it backed off from it's the 6. Now we have the total flips on the US here on the 5 and the 1, but we're still showing strength on the Aussie. But now that could be at the extreme, but I think it's going to bounce in between here for a little while still. Let's go to our 5-minute chart and take a look at that one, see how that looks. Let's say right now it's still trading inside this box. It still has some room to the upside before it retests the overnight low, which is all the way up here. Or excuse me, the overnight high. We had a nice little rally, base, rally. I could see it coming down to retest this little base right in here. And that's about halfway in this box. That's about in the 50% range of the box.
And that aqua is a higher time frame confirmed?
This one right here?
Yes.
That would be, that's a good question. I think that one's one I should probably take off.
Okay.
Because it doesn't have any real significance that I can see. It was broken, or if it was broken.
Okay. Thank you.
Here's the 62. Here's the 3062. Here's the 562. Right. Now I can see this thing coming down and possibly giving us another little break. If it can break this, where the A is, if it can break here, it will probably have some more room to the downside. Here's a nice little drop, basing. Now it's probably going to have to, if we can get into this area and close, it's probably going to come down and retest because there's still a lot of strength on the 15-minute. We still have a lot of strength to the strength of the Aussie. Actually, we have strength to the Aussie, but these are flipping. So I think it's, right now it's not deciding which way it wants to go some more. If the dollar can get more strength, then it's going to break through here and head down and retest the 1562, the 3062, they're all kind of right here in the same spot. I'll draw this one up for reference. 1562. And we wait. Still no new alerts.
No, not since the quarter 5, right?
No, that was a nice little move we had right there.
Yeah.
We just barely caught that one.
Yeah, if it passes the A, we have a good trade there. That's 17 pip.
Right, because if it can close below the A, it's got this whole candle where you don't see any wicks on a 5 minute. This is 1 5 minute candle that had it was like started and no stops along the way. And we had this one. We had basically 15 minutes of straight up candles, a little basing here and then a rejection. So I always look and see where the last wick was. Come on over. Here is the last wick of this blue candle where my cursor is, and then comes to the wall and then comes right down. There's nothing really to stop it. So this would be the next target area right in here.
It'd be interesting to observe what's going to happen. That where you're drawing your box is exactly where the 5 minute 62 is.
Yep, exactly there. So there's still enough. Now, see, we're getting enough. Right now it's still indecisive because it keeps flipping back and forth with strength and weakness here. It's gonna have to break through this AC zone right here before. Basically, this is the box I'd be looking at right here for I want to see it close inside this box right there. Under the close.
Looks like here it goes. You're going to get a cross of your moving averages.
Yep, right up here. That's on the 5 minute. Let's see if we have it on the 1 minute yet.
Yeah.
Strong move. Here's a little wedge going on right now. Here's the low. Bounce off. And here's again, like I said, here's another little mini wedge being drawn.
Okay.
Yeah, and what we know about that is 3 out of 5 times it's going to break to the downside for this one, just because that's the direction of the previous trend. So we'll see if that holds up.
But just to understand your statistic a little bit better. So because we already had the strong down move, and then if you have a wedge being formed on the pullback from the strong move, like you have, excuse me, you have 3 out of 5 times that they will continue that move down. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, just it's something like 63% or something like that.
Right. Okay, I just wanted to process what you were saying.
Because actually with this is a drop, it's basing.
Right.
And it's either going to base and retest the origin, or it's going to break through and give us that little range that we often draw when we have the drop. And I use the Fibonacci extension tool. Right. Here's the origin of the move. Here's the bottom of the move. Here's the top of the move. Bring it on up to the top. And here's our zone right in here for the 1 to the 78, the 78.6 to the to 1 range. This would be the next target area. So I'll draw that, and you can see that's pretty much right where the origin of this, and actually we can probably tweak this in a little bit here, a little bit lower. We have a couple wicks here, but once it broke all these wicks right here. This was the candle that broke it. This is the area that's where this whole move originated. And so the target zone on this would be right in here. But it has to get through this area first. And if it does break through this little range right in here, actually we can probably bring this one up a little bit now. Looks like it's starting to break through the wedge. It's coming. It's got to break through this area. I want to see it closed in here. I want to see it closed below this. The bottom of the blue candle.
You see how the 13 and the 62 are spreading now?
And that's 9 pips to the downside here.
Yeah, that looks nice.
But we also have a blue fib line right here. So it may get a little bit of a bounce and recheck here.
If that is the break, that I'm pretty sure it is, but if that's what it is, I think it's going to slice right through your zone there.
My target zone?
Right to your target. Because it's already consolidated, right? We already know that.
Yeah.
So we're not looking for consolidation into a consolidation. We're looking for the breakout and then the impulsive side of the move and then another consolidation after, which could do it in your target zone.
If I pull this, oh, I didn't want to do that. Let me redraw that fib line again. Here's the high, here's the low, here's the pullback. And here's our target. Here's the, and basically what this is here was the zone. I'm also looking over here to see where this little rally basing was. I can pretty much put this up about halfway.
And see that other candle was just to scare people.
Yeah.
But we know we've seen so many observations, right? Where we see that breakout, we see it cross, we see the separation of the moving averages, and you have quite a few confirmations here that you're going to hit your white box.
Getting right down to the 78%. I would expect to come back and maybe retest this zone right up in here. And then make another run for the 1-to-1.
You might get a small wedge here, potentially.
Here's the bottom of this red candle over here to the left. So right now from this blue candle, all we have is wicks till we get pretty much to the bottom of this blue candle. This was, again, we had 3 nice strong move, base, took off again. Now it just retested this base. Getting right down to the 78.6 level. Coming right in to retest this AC zone. Wicked right up, couldn't close in there. It's probably going to make another, it could make another run down to the downside. I would wait a little bit more still.
It looks like an about 40% retracement from that from the break, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Your trend line's looking really good. That one that you drew there, Al, where it almost got it to the pip. That blue candle that came up. It's off by one, which I'm not concerned about. I consider that a hit for sure.
You talking about this area right here?
Yeah, right there.
Hey, Al, just for chuckles, can you throw a stick on that smaller wedge and see?
On this one?
Yes.
Yeah, it hit the target.
Yeah. No, it looks like it. I just
Oh yeah,
find
no, for sure,
that's
for
so
sure.
amazing. You know?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. A little bit bigger of a stick.
Probably about here to, well, should we take it to, bring it down to the,
There.
touch the wedge,
Yeah.
bring it up to the high, and we move it over.
The breakout.
And there's the,
yeah, geez. I just find that so amazing. I don't know why. It's great. I've certainly added that, Matt, to my training since you told us. The more and more I see it doing that.
So this thing still has the potential with the overnight low. Where's the overnight low? It's somewhere. Bottom of the box, I believe, is at the overnight low, pretty much. Let me double check that. 15-minute. Yep, this box pretty much ranges the overnight high, overnight low. And right now it's pretty much right in the middle of this range. You can see how you can always tell by the boxes. I have my little label there, and the box is right in the middle of the box, so you can tell where we're at. If I draw a fib line inside this box range, you can actually see what the retracement was, how high I got from the bottom, how high I got to the top. That's not the one I wanted. Okay, let's do this way. It pretty much got, it didn't even quite get, it got into the upper third. This would be upper third of this whole range. And right now looking at maybe coming down to the bottom 25%. It didn't quite get to the upper 25%, which is this range right here. That's the upper 25% of the move. This is the lower 25% of the move. And right now we're right about at right near the 50%. From this tag of the 30-minute 62 to up here, I'm kind of looking that this could be just another little small pullback on its way to the upper 25% of the range. See if I can show you that on the higher time frames here. I go to my 15-minute chart and just see what how this range came in. Actually, it started off with a strong move down. Here's where it opened up. The new day opened, came back up high, came down low. Now it's retracing. But we have this nice little move. It's almost like an A, B, C retracement of this, and it could come down, but it hasn't really quite gotten up into this upper 25. So if you're looking for a trend line for a potential target area. Here's the range, and then looking for the next move up could very well be up into this area, which is going to get you up near the top of where the overnight high was. This is almost like this is like a nice little move up, forming another higher time frame wedge right in here to go to up into this area. And I would draw that. Just trying to find some target areas, see some areas where this thing could possibly go to. That'd be the target to the upside, which is right at the bottom of where the high was. And you probably won't start seeing that move until probably around 9 o'clock. We might start seeing a little bit more of that. It's 8:48 right now. At 9 o'clock, the market opens up at 9:30. We may get a nice little push up here when the market opens up. On this 15-minute chart, it's still showing strength to the upside. All our moving averages are still, this one's curling around a little bit, but it hasn't broken. We don't have the cross of the 5 and the 13. Not saying we won't get it. We're getting the cross right now on the 5-minute. Here it goes again. I would certainly expect a little bit of a bounce off of this range right here between the 62s, the 5, and the 15. And I don't think we have any more alerts yet.
I haven't seen any.
Nothing since 4. You're showing 4:45 this morning, Eva?
Hold on, I'm just
on the US. The US
yes.
Okay.
That's the last one I've received. Sometimes I have to kind of refresh my phone screen for them to show up. But no, yeah, UJ, that's it. I thought it would have been more crazy with the election, but I guess it slows down because they don't know what's going to happen.
That's exactly right. Yeah. As they start getting some more reports coming in some states, they'll start moving the markets a bit. But right now, it's all. I was watching it last night as the results were coming in, and you could just see the S&P just. As soon as a state was announced for one or the other, you could just see it moving in that direction, in the direction in favor as things were going on.
It's funny, eh?
Yeah, you could it's just sitting there watching it. It will be what it will be.
Well, this is it.
I just want a fair election. That's all.
Yeah. What democracy is supposed to be all about, no?
Yeah. Some people just don't play very nicely in the sandbox.
No, they don't. True.
That is so untrue. I mean, that's so true. I didn't mean to say untrue.
It doesn't matter who gets in at the end of the day, there's always going to be haters. That's just the way it goes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's the same up here. It's the same anywhere, I think.
Yeah, life's gonna go on, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Now, is Trudeau's elected, right?
Yes.
Oh, that
By the people or the government?
No, the people. It's democracy.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was a democracy, but I didn't know if it was more similar to, had more leanings towards like how they do it. I know England is a monarchy. I know that, but yet you have your you have your parliament. The parliament.
Yeah, it's set up as a constitutional monarchy. So, what happens is there's representatives from different provinces and different things, and depending on who has more seats in parliament, then their representative then leads the country. So either conservative or liberal, yeah.
Which our liberal equates to your Republican, I believe. And our, I think so. And our conservatives are your Democrats.
Oh, so it's flipped.
Really?
I think so.
It's the exact opposite. Well, one of my favorite buttons that I've seen is that we don't have to agree on anything to be kind.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, people are so polarized.
Trudeau is a liberal, and all the conservatives bash him nonstop. It's just the way it goes. And it's no different here than anywhere else. It's, everything is the fault of whoever happens to be in power.
Yeah.
Always, whether or not it was a different party that put the mess on his plate when he stepped into it. This is not to say that I voted for Trudeau, nothing like that. I just, fair is fair as far as I'm concerned. Stop bashing somebody that had absolutely nothing to do with the state of the country when he takes it over. And a lot of them, in Trudeau's case in particular, because his father was a prime minister back in the 70s, that seems to be a huge problem for people as well. It's no different than the Bushes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But that seems to be an issue. If they didn't like Pierre, well, they're not going to like Justin. So it's really narrow-minded, small thinking as far as I'm concerned.
And how long is his term?
4 years, I believe, right, Matt? It's 4 years. But
yeah, it's 4 years. But
indefinitely. They're not limited to just 2 terms like you guys are.
Okay.
Like we can keep voting in Justin if we want it to, as long as he wants to remain the party leader.
Oh, okay.
It's the best man for the job, regardless of how much he's been in there, so to speak, right? As far as the democracy vote goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, back to the wedges. It looks like this thing's working into a little channel, a descending channel. Here's the A, B, here's an anchor, here's the hit. Here's our third hit right now coming in. And we'll see if it bounces off of that, comes back up, retests the upper part of the channel. Or is it going to break through and just keep on going down to the, looks like it's going to keep going down.
It could answer that.
Yeah, that was quick. Are you still in that short now?
No, I got out.
Oh, okay. But you made your pips?
Made my pips.
Leslie, did you take that short? She's usually good about responding.
Small crowd today.
Yeah, look at that that bounce, eh? So it broke, it came back up and tagged it, and then said, all right, I'm not going in that direction anymore. I'm just gonna continue to where I was going. And you see the gap between the moving averages has now become pretty substantial.
Yep.
Here's that 9 o'clock hour. So got another 2 minutes, 2 more candles, and then we're ready to go.
Here's a drop. Here's a base. And it looks like it could be another drop right down into this 62.
The 15-minute 62 is so close to the 5 that I think it's just going to go right through the 5-minute and go right to the 62 on the 15.
You also have the 30 right below it. You see we got the flip right now where now the dollar is a stronger currency. Right now showing dollar strength. And we may get another flip on here. And we wait. Let's see if there's anything else we could be looking at here. Let's see how this is looking. Aussie still showing strong on the 4-hour and the 30-minute. It's given up some ground on the 15 and the 5. And we're looking at Swiss looks relatively strong too. And we'll look at the Swiss US. Over here, we'll duplicate this. And we'll go to the US Swiss. Strength to the downside, strong move down. Here's a little flag area down here where it's consolidating. Here's a drop, base, drop. Might get a little retest up here. Here's the overnight high, here's the overnight low. Moving averages are all in, let's see, this is the 15 minutes. So moving averages are all in the proper order to go short, but it's getting some consolidation. We did have a little alert yesterday. Looks like it broke right through this demand zone in the overnight. Take this away. See if we can find some trend lines. Get rid of this. These are all broken. Let's go to a higher time frame and see what we have. Looks like here's where the strong move came up, rally, basing rally came back, strong move back down to retest this area. I needs to see something break and close below. This may be getting to the end of the move. Nice little trend line here. Here's an anchor. Here's a hit. Here's a hit, another hit. There's the trend. That's a validated trend line. And we only have one hit on this one. And so I'm looking at a little bit of a secondary wedge right in here. Don't know where it's going to stop, but take it right to the let's look at our lower time frame. Let's make this a different color. Make that one white. Now we won't get them confused. Tweak the bottom. And let's see. Looks like we are coming out of an extreme area. So this may start looking at maybe going long on this.
Yeah, and instead of making a flat bottom, how about you swing that baby up a little bit? There you go.
Tuck this in a
Maybe
little bit.
catch those two bounces there. Yeah. Check that out.
The baby agrees with it too.
I want to catch this, try and catch this little trend right here, try and catch this little area right here. If this thing breaks out of the top, we could be going up a little bit higher. We'd have this little pivot right here to be looking at. So from there to, if we get a break, that'd be 9 pips to that if it breaks to the upside. We draw a stick inside this wedge, and I'll take it from, oh, I like this hit here to maybe the top of that. So let's try that.
Yeah, I'm kind of more interested in seeing what's going to happen with the moving averages, where it's located at. So
Yeah,
it's underneath price. So that could be really nice.
so let's go from, I like going from the midline to the mid hit.
Yeah, I like that one now.
So if it breaks the upside, we're looking at, and it coming up to retest the top of this wedge up here. This could be a nice little target area right in here.
You got your 30-minute 62 sitting there, and it's on its way down.
Yes, that's always important. These would be 2 targets to the upside initially.
So you see how you had your moving average cross right in the middle of the wedge towards the bottom.
Right in here.
That's pretty good. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It came back down. It tagged the 1 minute 62, and then that 1 minute 62 tag is at the bottom of your wedge.
This area, yeah, this area right in here is significant, right around the 830 mark, based on one of my other indicators. Coming out of the retrace extreme right here, we got the crossover. This thing looks like this thing could go to the upside.
I don't have my eyes on that one, Al, but if that's actually what's happening, it'll be a big move.
A lot of times when you get the when you have a retrace extreme and it comes out and you get the crossovers on the 1 minute, yeah, the crossover came back, is retesting this. If it can break to the top, it looks like it could very easily come up and break the top of this white wedge here. But I'm gonna move this thing over to, let's see if I can redraw this. Here's a low, here's a high, here's a higher low. There we go. I like that. We have an anchor. Here's a hit. Here's a hit. Here's an anchor. Here's a hit. Here's a hit. There's the third hit confirmation.
Yeah, that's a really strong wedge, Al. That's 3 hits on the top, 3 hits on the bottom.
Yeah. So those would be all like solid lines, right? Because we're doing a confirmation on that.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. If you get more than 2, once you get 3, it's a very strong line. If you ever get 4, you can really trust that line, because if it breaches that line, then it's a real breach.
And we are showing strength here on the US, showing strength. See what it looks like on the other time frames. Showing Swiss is starting to consolidate. Right now we have the flip of the 5 and the 1. Starting to get the break at the top of the wedge. And this is our target zones right up in here.
Broke out of the top.
It's breaking out of the top. Let's see if we can get a push. It's going to run into a little bit of a problem right here at the 91.25 level. And we have 91.37 on the 1562. I'll mark those. That could be a good target. And we know we have the 30 all the way up in here. And about 19 minutes before the market opens. It's a little bit of a pre-market move.
That looks pretty good, Al. I like it.
Here's where the break was. And we'll see if it takes off. Got a lot of strength on the RCS, on the RSIs. Whole moving averages are showing, this one just flipped to green, 2 green on both sides of those. And we have our target 1, target 2 up here. This will be target 2.
Yeah, I'll pay attention to the 5 and 13 moving averages. So once we had the 62 that crossed those moving averages, then the 513 tried to cross and it failed. It tried to cross and it failed, and it tried to cross and failed.
This area right in here.
Exactly. When you see it happen like that, it means there's too much momentum in the direction of the cross, and then you're going to have that big gap between the 1 minute and the other moving averages.
What they'll do is sometimes they'll measure the gap between the yellow and the white. And if it's, as long as this thing keeps on getting bigger and bigger. You see here was where it consolidated. Now it's a little bit wider. When that gap starts getting smaller, we know we're starting to lose the momentum. Just move this thing right along. And I'm looking at this as just a little bit of a pullback. It's making higher highs. Here's a high. Here's our wedge. We had a high, a low, lower high, higher low. And now we have a higher high. And just coming up, retesting this where the B is. If it can break through where this pivot right here where this pivot high is, it's going to go up, retest this. It's got to get through this B area first. That's why it's stalling a little bit. See, your little gap is getting a little bit bigger. Need to break through this area right here. See the gap's getting bigger. Strength is still strong on the 1 minute. We still have a 7 and a 4 on the 1 minute. We have a 7 and a 4 on the 5 and a 5 and a 3. This is getting stronger on the 15 minute. Put a fib line on, see if we have a fib area at all. Here might be the first little pass and check possibly. 91.23.
Look at the 5 minute, Al. I like the 5 minute a little bit better to gauge.
Right now, we have 1, 2, 3, 5 minute candles still all showing blue. You get this one to close. How much time we have? We have this one's a new candle right now. In fact, this one is still kind of sloping down. It's starting to flatten out a little bit. I think we're gonna get a little bit of a test on this. Let's check the price action on the 1 minute with this one. Coming up on the blue Fibonacci line.
I really started messing around with the Fibonacci lines, Al, and after the last little bit, I've really loved incorporating them. They just add that extra level of confirmation.
It does, yeah, they do. Price always seems to find it and always seems to react to it.
Vast majority of the time. Yesterday, it just sliced right through it. But that was a really big move yesterday, so it was probably looking for a higher time frame. Pivot point or what.
Let's see if it can bounce off this. A little bit of rejection off of that price point.
Yeah, but it's got a nice wick on it. It's leaving a nice wick at the bottom, which I like.
Yeah.
If there was a big wick at the top, that would be more concerning.
Yes, it would be. I see this gap is widening over here.
And that could be the trade of the morning, my friend.
It'd be two good trades this morning, both of which we found ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and you know what? Finding them ourselves is good, but it's also extra learning. You know, if you can take it without the wedge alerts, great. But if you have that extra confirmation of a high probability wedge, you're just adding the stacking the odds in your favor even more.
Well, plus you're also giving some tools in your inventory, in your toolbox.
Well, yeah, it gives you more confidence and you're learning things as you go. So, here's the $1 million question, or a couple $100 question: is you going to take target 1? You're going to take 562 or take target 2?
Well, right now I'm going to continue with it.
Since you pretty much got the bottom of the run, Al, you could use something a little bit more advanced by using the 1 minute whole moving average to get you out of the trade. It'll still give you like 70% of the move before it erodes. It usually erodes about 23% of the entire move before it flips.
On the 1 minute hole, you say?
On the 1 minute hole, yeah. Or the 5 minute. Same idea. It's just 1 minute. It's going to get you out a little bit faster. But it's also going to flip faster. So it might get you out before the move is done moving.
Still starting to get wider here. Let's see how nicely this is following this 1362 or 1 minute 13 moving average. So target 1 is going to be pretty much up at the, well, right now it just broke where the B was. It broke that. Now it's coming up on target 1, which is going to be right up in here.
Well, that's target 1.
There's target 1.
and it sliced right through the 562. It bounced
Yes,
off it twice, and it said, okay, well, I'm just going to keep on going.
Now it's heading up to the 1562 and the 30, and which is also with the 1562, which is also right at the top of the original wedge that we drew. Remember, this is a descending channel that we drew here. Or was that one? That was the other. That was the other pair. Right now, here's our anchor. Here's our. We've had 3 hits, so this trend line has been confirmed.
I like how you did that, Al. So if it comes up and it tags your extended trend line or the top of your wedge that you drew, it's going to hit the 62 to the pip, and that would be a very nice exit. That means like, hey, we're either turning around and going in the same direction or whatnot. But that's a solid trade.
Yep, and that's right here at the end of the stick is right here at our target 2.
Yeah, there's a confluence of too many things at once, especially the gap between the 513 and the 62 at the 1 minute level.
And also you got the red fib line right up here too. So you have the red fib line, you have the confirmed trend, you have the 1562, and you have pretty much the end of the stick all right up in this area. So I wouldn't push it too much more than that.
No, that would be a mistake to push it any.
Yeah, and you also
expect any more. It's just a mistake.
And right now you're testing the green fib line right here at the 30 or 9130 area. Got a nice little kind of tagged it, bounced off of it. And I'm out of this trade.
Yeah, you didn't like that big wick?
Nope.
No, I didn't either.
I got 7 or 8 pips out of it, and that's good. That was good for me.
Well, it's better that way, because you're so close that it's not worth that extra 2 pips to sit in the smoke that you might have to occur for it to go that extra length, right?
Exactly.
So
and I said we've had we've had two nice trades today. We had a nice trade with the Aussie US, a nice trade with the US Swiss, and I could put the toys away and do something else for the day. And at that note, it's 9:30. It's a Wednesday. Susan Batchelder has her thing at 10 o'clock, so she'll be wanting to get logged in here. Thanks for coming in, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have some election results by tomorrow.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
See you guys all later. Bye.
Have a great day.